Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Odin's movie blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian, which first episode came out this morning, about 5 hours or so before it was supposed to. So we're talking a little bit about Disney Plus here, and a little bit about the show The Mandalorian. So, as you all know, I am not a very big fan of Disney, and that still remains to be true. That being said, it's easy for me to talk to and about these things because there are many people that I'm friends with that do have the service and have been keeping me updated with all the things going on behind the scenes. Of course, the myriad of articles that have now been written, of videos that have been posted, tweets that have been made, and the general consensus is that Disney Plus has come off to a pretty lackluster start, with many people not having access to the app, even when the app finally became officially available. Episodes of The Mandalorian, or the first episode of The Mandalorian, being available for certain platforms, for certain users, about 5 hours before it was supposed to, which to me kind of makes me a little frustrated because I understand what it's like to be wanting to see a show right when it comes out, right when it is released, and to have it be released for certain people at a certain time means spoilers for that episode are going to be out earlier. And trust me, I know that there are plenty of people out there that have been very much looking forward to The Mandalorian, myself included, because if anything going on is of everything going on in current Disney Star Wars, this is one of the only things. The other thing I would say would be Clone Wars Season 7. But other than that, this was the only thing that we really had to look forward to, because it's not Episode 9. Episode 9 looks like it's going to be a train wreck. Just recently, J.J. Abrams came out and said, you don't expect your typical Star Wars movie, thanks to Rian Johnson, basically saying, we're going to keep doing the same thing that Rian Johnson started and subvert expectations and take things in a new direction, all for the sake of the plot, or all forsaking the plot of the entire film. And so there's nothing to be excited for. Mandalorian, on the other hand, is off to a very good start. So even though Disney Plus has really missed the mark in a lot of different ways, has missing content, has not been available for certain users, I know that I was doing some testing around myself, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't even download the app from the Android App Store. It says that it's not made for my device, which I think is definitely going to be a problem, seeing that I've got a modern Android device that has all the updates that it needs. Obviously, that's going to be a little problematic if there are certain people that actually paid for the service that are trying to access the app. That's going to be very problematic indeed. But now getting to The Mandalorian, which is a solid show. The biggest complaint and the biggest criticism that I've been hearing about the show is the score, to be perfectly honest. That's what most people have been saying. The score is terrible. I don't think the score is terrible. I just think that it's not special. I didn't listen to the show or watch the show and think, the score is terrible. I instead was like, wait a minute, there was a score? Wait, there was music? And I think that is an indication that the score is not a strong point. I think that they're definitely right that it is the weakest point of the show, because any score, any good score, should be able to have a life of its own, should be able to be, have this certain quality about it that makes you realize I am now watching The Mandalorian. We look to any movie or any television show, and usually there's a theme song, or usually there's a score where all of a sudden we can really think and we can say, wait a minute, that's right. Every time now I'm going to hear that now from this point forward, all I'm going to be able to do is to think about what movie that song or that score is attached to. Mandalorian doesn't really have that, but what it does have, it has in spades. So let's first start off with the cinematography, which I think is the strongest part of this series. The first episode is beautiful. It looks gorgeous. Every single shot is well crafted. Every single shot is well done. All the visual effects, everything that you see on screen, the production design, the design of the aliens, the obvious practical use of practical effects with many of the alien designs is awesome. Again, it's so great to actually be somewhat excited for Star Wars again, because it's been so long. Disney really hasn't had a knock out of the park since Rebels, and I was late to the game when it came to Rebels, and there are many people that didn't like Rebels for a wide variety of reasons that I would say are pretty legitimate, especially with taking certain characters from the EU and not really giving them their full potential. I still personally like the show, though. I'm a defender of that show. And something tells me that you're going to find a very similar split with this show too, that you're going to have some people that are going to have very legitimate criticisms of it, where, it's just basically just hitting the same points of things we've already seen or that you've already seen. I think the big thing here is this is a Western, which I kind of like. I think Star Wars and Western actually work very well together. And I think that right now, even though we've only heard just a couple of words from the dude, the guy that's playing the Mandalorian, I think has actually been is showing himself to be pretty menacing. Obviously, we don't really see his face at all. The whole point of the first episode is that he's behind the helmet. Do you ever see a Mandalorian's face behind the helmet? And I kind of like that. I kind of like that you literally have emotion being conveyed by the turn of the head, by the slight turning of the head, by the look of the armor. Obviously by the voice acting too, which is very limited. And I would say the biggest complaint I would have other than the score would be the fact there isn't a whole lot of dialogue. There really isn't a whole lot of dialogic, is not even a word, dialogic exposition that takes place. And that's something I would have liked a little bit more. Now I'm hoping that as the episodes go on, that we get a little bit more background, we get a little bit more explanation, a little bit more exposition on these characters. I think that what they need to realize is that, yeah, you're going to have hardcore fans, EU fans, etc. They're going to be able to pick up on a lot of different references, are going to be able to pick up on certain story arcs, but you're also going to have a lot of new people to this. A lot of new people to Star Wars and just new people to the concept of Mandalorians too. Because yeah, we most of us know Boba Fett, Jango Fett, but really the Mandalorians were delved so much further into in the Clone Wars, but there are still a lot of people out there that never watched the Clone Wars, never really got into them, and maybe didn't even get into the EU either to dive into the stories that are there. So I'm hoping that the series helps to explain those elements to other people that have either never seen it, or maybe it's been a while and maybe there needs to be more explanation. Because it's still, I remember, after this season ended, or after this episode ended, I thought, I still don't know exactly what part in the history of Star Wars we're currently in. I'm sure I can go ahead and look it up. I can look up the plot. I can look up these basic elements, but I still am just kind of confused as to where exactly we are in the time frame. I know that we're dealing with we're dealing with an era post-Empire, but it's still kind of confusing as to where we are in that. Now, maybe they're trying to be ambiguous because maybe there are certain plot elements that they're going to try and reveal that if we knew what time this was taking place, that it would reveal too much. That very well could be the case. But Pedro Pascal, I think, does a very good job with the voice acting here. The cinematography is absolutely great. The score is forgettable. The editing is well done. The visual effects are really great. I mean, you can tell that they spent millions of dollars on this show. It looks like a show that was made as a movie, but for a TV series instead. And that, I think, would be the other critique, would be that the episode length is just kind of an odd one. It's in the 30-minute range. I think it's around 37, 38 minutes long, which is kind of standard for your television show. Most television shows are about 42, 43 minutes, and then you add commercials, and that's what fills in the hour. So it's not totally off from that. But I feel like for a show that's 8 episodes long at this point, I think last time I checked Wikipedia, it has 8 episodes listed and has been overhyped, has been hyped up for so much. I feel like the episode should be longer than that. And I feel like, especially since you're introducing a new character and a new story, which is one of the first times that they've really done that up to this point, because everything else has been either a part of the sequel trilogy or has been a spin-off based in and set in a certain time and certain characters that's been pre-established. So this is one of the first times that there's something brand new in Disney Star Wars since Rebels. And so I think that they really need to start to, hopefully the episodes tighten up just a little bit more. What I am excited to say, though, and I think the most exciting part about this show, is the fact that Dave Filoni directed this episode. And it shows me very clearly that Dave Filoni can indeed direct live action. There's been a lot of speculation. There's been a lot of discussion over that point. We know what he can do with animation, but live action, not so much. We're not exactly sure. He can do it. His direction here is flawless. I cannot wait for, I think it's the 4th or 5th episode, where he both writes and directs the episode. I think that it's going to blow us away. Because this episode, even though it's not the greatest thing in the world, even though it's not revolutionary in a lot of different ways, I think that it's a solid start. I think that all the effects, the cinematography, just the way the story is building, and a little bit, but not too much, I think that there's a lot of really great things that they do here. Are there criticisms of this show? Are there valid criticisms of the show? Absolutely. Am I fully sold on it yet? No, because as we all know, Disney Star Wars has always gotten people's expectations up just so that they can just pull the bottom out and make everyone upset, because I'm still waiting for them to push the identity politics into it, because that's what they've been doing ever since they got their little hands on this franchise. And I'm hoping and praying that people like Favreau and people like Filoni can kind of hold that off just a little bit more. But as we all know, Disney Star Wars has a history, right? And so I'm not going to let my guard down just quite yet. But overall, solid introduction, solid beginning of a new series, and I'm actually kind of looking forward to seeing the next episode, and I kind of want to watch it again, just so that way I can pay attention to certain elements that I may have forgotten or may not have gotten a whole lot of information on. But Disney Plus looking like it's not starting off that great, especially since it's only opening in one country, really. or at least one region of the world. It's sad that that's the case, but I know that a lot of people have either accessed it or have accessed it overseas through torrents and through Pirate Bay and all those other places, and so I know a lot of people have seen this show already, and there's a lot of different opinions on there, but what are your thoughts on it? Do you think Mandalorian is a good show so far? I think that it was a solid pilot episode, like a solid first episode, and the next episode we will get on Friday, so for those anyone wondering about the schedule, Mandalorian is going to be released every single Friday. It's not going to be a binge model. It's instead every Friday, 8 episodes. I think it goes all the way up until the end of December, around Christmas time. So, we have that to look forward to. This is the only week where you have 2 episodes in 1 week. They wanted to have 1 episode on launch day, and they're going to have another episode on this Friday, and then every subsequent Friday after that through December. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think Mandalorian is good? Also, do you have Disney Plus, and are you having issues? Let me know the issues that you're having with Disney Plus in the comment section below. I have to say that the cynical mindset that I have is very happy that Disney's having issues because, as the saying goes, duck Fisney, and I think that a lot of us feel that way. Mandalorian is a pretty solid product so far, and hopefully it stays that way, but it remains to be seen. And as far as the ending goes, which I'm not getting into spoilers here, the ending to me, I'm okay with. And I think it's because I'm not as versed in the EU as some other people are. And I know that one of the biggest, to me, I think the most valid complaint that I've heard is from Ryan Kindle of RK Outpost. Great channel. Go check him out. I think I'm going to try and get a card to link to his channel above my head at this point. But what's really great about his review is that he talks about how there is a certain character that George Lucas was very clear he never wanted anyone to touch, and they kind of go into that a little bit. Again, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to reveal anything, in an explicit way. Maybe I might do spoilers on the stream tonight because I'm sure most people would have seen it at that point in time. It's not a very long episode, right? It's under 40 minutes, but let me know your thoughts about that as well. But please try and keep spoilers out at least until the stream tonight. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, give me a subscribe. It helps me a lot. You're all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless.